The sky above Ortheon was not a sky. It was a living lattice. It pulsed with faint geometric patterns, a shimmering grid of light stretching endlessly across the horizon like a transparent brain thinking in slow motion. Every few seconds, a ripple of color moved across it, as if something unseen were breathing behind reality itself. Dr. Samia Raye stood at the edge of the observation spire, her hands clasped behind her back, watching the sky think. "It's changed again," she murmured. Behind her, the heavy footsteps of Commander Idris Kale echoed softly against the metallic floor. "That's the 5th time this week," he said, his voice steady but edged with unease. "You said it was stabilizing." "I said it was trying to stabilize," Samia corrected, her eyes never leaving the sky. "There's a difference." Idris stepped beside her, following her gaze. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Far above, the lattice flickered, and then, impossibly, rearranged itself. Lines bent, angles collapsed, a new pattern emerged, more complex than before. "Whatever built that," Idris said quietly, "it's still here." Samia finally turned to him. "Or it never left." 3 years earlier, Ortheon had been an ordinary colony world on the fringes of mapped space, quiet, predictable, forgettable. Then the sky appeared, not gradually, not with warning. One moment there had been stars, the next the lattice. Ships that tried to leave found themselves looping back, no matter their trajectory. Signals sent outward distorted, scrambled into patterns that almost but not quite resembled language. And then there were the dreams. Everyone on Ortheon began dreaming the same thing, endless corridors made of light, shifting and folding into impossible shapes, doors that opened into other doors, voices that spoke in equations. Most people dismissed it as stress. Samia did not, because she understood the equations. "Run it again," Samia said, pacing in the central lab. A young technician, Lyra Venn, adjusted the controls of the resonance scanner. "We've already run it 6 times. And we'll run it a 7th. If the pattern holds, it's not noise, it's intention." Lyra hesitated, then nodded. "Resonance field activating." The room hummed. At the center of the chamber, a faint blue light flickered into existence. Inside it, tiny lines of energy danced, mirroring the lattice in the sky. "Amplify," Samia said. The sphere brightened, the lines sharpened, then, suddenly, they shifted. Lyra gasped. "It's responding!" "To what?" Idris asked from the doorway. Samia stepped closer to the sphere. "To us." She reached out, her hand hovering just outside the glowing surface. The lines inside the sphere rearranged again, faster this time, almost eagerly. "It's not just a structure. It's a system, a mind," Samia whispered. "Or a trap," Idris said. Samia shook her head. "No, traps don't learn." As if in response, the sphere pulsed, and a sound filled the room. Not a noise, not exactly. More like a thought trying to become sound. Lyra clutched her head. "Do you hear that?" Samia did. "A pattern, a rhythm, a sequence." "Translate it," Samia urged. "I don't know how." "Then let it translate you." That night, Samia dreamed again. But this time, the corridor wasn't empty. A figure stood at the far end, tall, indistinct, made of shifting light. It had no face, yet she knew it was looking directly at her. "You are late," it said. The voice wasn't sound, it was meaning pressed directly into her mind. "What for what?" Samia asked. The corridor folded, bringing the figure closer without movement. "For understanding." Samia steadied herself. "What are you?" The figure flickered. We are the architecture of thought. That's not an answer. It is the only answer you can currently process. Samia felt a surge of frustration. Why are you here? Why Ortheon? The figure paused. Then, slowly, the corridor around them began to change. Walls dissolved into stars. The floor became a flowing grid of light. This world is a node, the figure said. A node of what?
If we integrate, do we lose ourselves? The figure was silent for a long moment. You redefine yourselves. That's not an answer. It is the most accurate answer available. Samia clenched her fists. Will I still be me? The figure's form shimmered. Then, unexpectedly, it changed. For a brief moment, human, like her. You will be more than you are, it said. That doesn't mean I'll still exist. The figure stepped closer than ever before. You fear dissolution, it said gently. A pause. Did we? Samia's breath caught. You were like us? We were once separate, the figure said. Finite, isolated, limited, and you chose this. That's not the same thing. The figure tilted its head. From your perspective, perhaps. Samia felt tears sting her eyes. I don't want to disappear. You will not disappear, it said. You can't promise that. No, the figure admitted. We cannot. The final decision came sooner than anyone expected. The lattice began to collapse inward, not destructively, but deliberately, like a closing eye. If it fully contracts, Lyra started, it might erase everything inside, Idris finished. Samia stared at the sky. Or complete the integration. Idris turned to her. We don't have time for uncertainty. Samia's raced. Fight and risk annihilation. Accept and risk transformation. She looked at Idris, at Lyra, at the world they had built, then back, the sky. I'm going in, she said. Idris grabbed her arm. You can't. I'm the only one who's communicated with it, she replied. If anyone can understand what's happening, it's me. And if you don't come back, Samia gave a faint smile. Then maybe I was never meant to. The sphere in the lab expanded, enveloping her, light, everything. Silence. Samia stood in the corridor again. But this time, it was different. Brighter, wider, infinite. The figure, gone. Instead, there were many. Countless forms of light, moving, shifting, thinking. A voice, no, voices spoke. Welcome. Samia took a breath. You? This? She looked around. And me. A pause. You are becoming. Samia, her eyes, made choice. Days later, the lattice vanished. The sky returned to normal. Ship could leave. Signals traveled freely. Idris stood at the observation spire, staring upward. Lyra joined him. Do you think she's gone? Idris didn't answer immediately. Then, softly, no. Above them, for just a moment, the sky flickered. A faint pattern. A familiar,